Hello, guys. Welcome back. I am Shane Davis, 20-year comic book veteran. I'm here with Yanzi Lin, and we are talking about X-Men as X-Men 97 has premiered, and it is trending right now. I wanted to talk about the X-Men reboot that nobody's actually talking about. Marvel did issue a trailer on this, and it was not great. But let's get into it. What we got? Marvel announces not two X-Men books, not even one really good X-Men book, but three X-Men titles in the wake of the Cohen age. Let's get into it.
Oof. All right. So this is one of those situations where you're like, remember when they first did that whole X-Men with Jonathan Hickman, and they're like, wow, it's so good, you gotta buy it. But then they start expanding the roster, and there were so many other books you gotta buy. It's almost like too many, and people are like, okay, that's it, I'm checking out. But no, it doesn't matter anymore. We're gonna start with three, and that's the three core ones. There'll be more coming down the road, y'all. So, who are the creators on this book? We have Jed McKay and Ryan Stegman. Pretty amazing. On
Hmm.
X-Men. Look at that. Wait, does Stegman have a Substack deal? No, that's not important. Anyway,
It
then we have
kind of is. It kind of is. There's a couple of
no.
creators here with Substack deals that are finding their way back to Marvel. And
Oh my
look,
gosh. Are you telling me that the Substack deal didn't work out after all? Yeah, so that's what I'm going to point out. See, Uncanny X-Men by Gil Simone and David Marquez.
all right.
Okay, and now one of those guys. And you have Exceptional X-Men by Eve Ewing, not to be confused with L. Ewing, and Carmen Carnero. Now, if you look at this roster here, this is big talent pool if they're bringing in. So I guess they're not afraid to spend some money on this stuff now.
Well, a lot of talent's going to come and show up for an X-Men #1. Historically, X-Men #1 was like one of the top selling books when Jim Lee and Chris Claremont launched that book with multiple covers. Ideally, and this is coming from a comic book penciler, an X-Men #1 is where you want to be. That's your book. You're going to hit royalties. You don't have to be on later on. Even in a trade market, if it's a big X-Men reboot that Marvel's like, we're going to really kick something off that we're doing for the next year, you're laying track for that first trade where you are going to get that sweet royalty money, even if you're not drawing trade 2, 3, or any of that. That first trade always gets kicked up into reprints whenever bookstores are ordering volume 3, volume 4, volume 5. So it's not hard to get talent for the first issue. It just isn't. Talent
And
later on is going to be the issue. Though, looking at this to me is interesting is looking at the three books in the team lineups. Now, this to me, if I had to do it, I would basically put them all together. Like in the artwork, I would put them all together in one book. Like I would have Wolverine and Cyclops and Gambit and Beast and basically every character everybody's excited to see in X-Men 97 together in one book. But Marvel decided to split this into two books and hope people are going to buy more than one book. Now, the third book is the one I have a problem with as an X-Men fan. I really don't care about Emma Frost leading a team. Even when she led a team with Banshee called Generation X, I really didn't care too much about her. These new mutants she has, again, lackluster costumes. I don't really care too much about them. I definitely don't care about the writer that seems to have social agendas.
let's look at the team roster. The first book you have, where it'll be X-Men with Stegman, will be Cyclops with a group of X-Men stationed in Alaska. And he will have Beast, Magneto, Psylocke, Kid Omega Temper, Magic, and Juggernaut. So, okay, some heavy hitters in this roster. Then in Marquez's Uncanny X-Men, Rogue will lead a team that will be consisting of Gambit, Nightcrawler, Jubilee, and Wolverine. So straight away, I'm seeing that people who like X-Men will probably lean more towards the Uncanny X-Men roster, just because you have all these really popular names, characters in there. Finally, though, we go into Exceptional X-Men, where Kitty Pryde will be a teacher to mutants. And the three mutants have very inspiring names like Bronze, Exo, and Melee. Wow, so inspiring. And of course, Emma Frost is also interested in guiding these young mutants. So now they must butt heads and figure out, no, my way is better. No, my way is better. Oh, no, there's a crisis. Now we must work together. Is there going to be that kind of story, guys?
Yeah, I mean, how else are you going to sell three X-Men books? Now, there is some saving grace here. Rob is doing his last Deadpool story that I guess will somehow launch around this or right after it or something. I'm actually excited to not see Deadpool mentioned in this at all. But there is that to look forward to. There is what looks to be like a Greg Capullo Wolverine type project or something I'm hearing about. Not exactly sure about that.
Well, let me quickly point out then the other X-Men titles that we mentioned, since they're not the core titles, will be Storm, X-Force, X-Factor, Wolverine, Nyx, and Phoenix. So that should give you a hint of who might be working on what books. Maybe we have seen Greg Capullo drop images of Wolverine, so who knows? Maybe that's what's his project.
Yeah. Again, as an X-Men fan, I really feel like the property is in the wrong hands, just like Star Wars, just like pretty much everything Disney's bought. This property is not safe from SJWs. It is actually being targeted mainly by SJWs and being trying to be infiltrated. The producer of X-Men 97, a lot of controversy there. Evidently was like, oh, maybe there was some spicy OnlyFans content out there or whatever. He kind of went in on this as it being a representation type project. Videos I've seen of it look good. I'm excited for it until I heard him talk about it. And I don't know if they could edit this thing, whatever he did to it. There's a reason he's no longer there. And I don't think it's only the OnlyFans thing. I think it may be other issues or the way he was speaking about it. Because the reality is X-Men is this property for Disney that could be a reboot for the superhero franchise. Let's be honest, the X-Men movies that Fox did really weren't all that superhero. They were leather, they had knives coming out of their wrist or lasers coming out of their eyes. It wasn't really what we think of when we think about the MCU. So X-Men can be very much self-contained. Again, Fox is a great example of that. Multiple movies, self-contained, didn't really interact with other superheroes in the Marvel universe. So in theory, X-Men could be a second coming or a type of antidote to the superhero fatigue, if you believe that there's superhero fatigue, or is it just bad movies? Time will tell. But X-Men as a property for most X-Men fans still goes back to 97 look, the cartoon we grew up with, the Jim Lee comics that most of us came to X-Men on, or the John Byrne comics, the Chris Claremont books before that. And that's kind of like the trap of X-Men. And as long as Disney or the head of Marvel Comics right now, and whatever sense they are, will not admit that's the only thing people want, just do more of that. It's already figured out for you, stupid. Just do that. X-Men is doomed to fail. That's how I feel as a fan. That's how I feel as a creator. And time will only tell in this. If you guys will hit like, subscribe, ring the bell for notification, let us know what you think about that. Also, Axcend, level up. If you guys want, please go over here, check out our superhero comic over here, action adventure video games. 3 gamers go into a unique video game world experience. And when they log out, they activate as their avatars in the real world. All the superpowers, none of the consequence of the video game. Check it out. See what you think about it. It's up on Indiegogo and 9livescomics.com. It's our next book to go to print at 9 Lives Comics. And we will catch you guys again with another video.
I dream of a world carefully crafted, beautifully flawed. This is Axcend. In this game of life, there is one thing that determines a victor. A player's ability to grow. A player's ability to evolve. A player's ability to survive. My name is Dog. Choose to play. Choose to upgrade. Choose to level up. Choose to Axcend.